Kidiboni Diale Tlhabela. The operators want to air their grievances over what they describe as newly imposed operating requirements. The drivers say the department has introduced stricter regulations for private scholar transport operators. The decision follows the horrific accident that claimed the lives of 14 children while they were travelling to school. Dimakatso Leshoro has more.
The protest comes after a planned meeting between the transport operators and the MEC was cancelled last Sunday. The meeting could not proceed as the venue was too small to accommodate the operators who had arrived in large numbers. The scholar operators argue they are being unfairly punished for the accident in Vanderbijl Park. John Chauke speaks on behalf of the association.
The treatment with that incident, we punish all the scholar transport in South Africa.
Why do you say that?
I'm saying that because, yes, we do have those accidents. We had an accident in N12. 4 kids were died, and the person who did that accident, it was a government employee. They didn't do whatever that they do now.
The Gauteng Department of Roads and Transport has since ramped up its compliance campaign, impounding vehicles that are not roadworthy. Operators say while they are not opposed to safety measures, they need time to comply. Dimakatso Leshoro, Eyewitness News.
IPID's Assistant Director for Investigations, Thulani Magagula, says the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department should have taken disciplinary action against 2 officers linked to the alleged theft of a truck in Patfontein 3 years ago. The truck and its load, worth over 1 million rand, was allegedly stolen in February 2023. Magagula is currently testifying at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, which is probing allegations of corruption in the criminal justice system. Ntuthuzelo Nene has more.
IPID's Assistant Director for Investigations, Thulani Magagula, has told the Commission that their investigation into the matter is still ongoing but has stalled. He adds that some witnesses have disappeared and a key witness in the case is too afraid to come forward, fearing the police.
The question will be, hey, Magagula, you know the police, they will kill me. Then I don't want to be in that position. So I'm trying to show him that there is witness protection, all those type of resources.
The Commission's interim report has found prima facie evidence of wrongdoing against the 2 officers and others. Ntuthuzelo Nene, Eyewitness News.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has expressed confidence in the ability of the military to restore peace in gang-riddled areas. Ramaphosa says the soldiers will be deployed to parts of Gauteng and the Western Cape with the mandate of protecting the peace. The assurance follows an announcement at the State of the Nation address last night to deploy the SANDF to the 2 provinces to help in the fight against gang violence. This morning, Ramaphosa hosted the annual Presidential Golf Challenge that's in Cape Town, where he touched on the military deployment. Babalondenze has more.
President Cyril Ramaphosa said in his SONA speech last night that he's directed the police minister and the defense force to develop a tactical plan on where security forces should be deployed within the next few days in the Western Cape and Gauteng. He said this was to deal with gang violence and illegal mining in the 2 provinces. Today, Ramaphosa defended the plan, saying similar deployments have worked in the past.
You must know that the soldiers are not police people. Soldiers are trained to kill and to defend the people of South Africa. And in this case, they'll be defending the peace.
Ramaphosa says the plan by the Defence Force and police will include the costs for the deployment before informing Parliament. Babalondenze, Eyewitness News, Cape Town.
And the Danish Prime Minister is expected to meet with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio today to discuss Greenland. Since returning to the White House last year, U.S. President Donald Trump has argued that Washington needs to control Greenland for security reasons. A U.S.-Denmark-Greenland working group has recently been established to discuss Washington's security concerns, but details have not been made public. It is unclear whether other members of the Prime Minister's office will attend the talks. Gold is trading at $4,975.74 an ounce. The rand is at 16.01 to the dollar, 21.82 to the pound, 19.02 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $67.52 a barrel.
In the traffic at this stage in Edenville, there's slow-moving traffic. This is on the N3 northbound between Linksfield Road and Modderfontein Road due to an earlier accident. There's also slow-moving traffic. That's leaving the Joburg CBD on Main Reef Road between the M2 and Nasrec Road. And look out for those faulty traffic lights in Polshof at Witkoppen and Main.
It's a partly cloudy Friday in Gauteng with showers and thundershowers expected. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 26 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, tensions are high at the Nelson Mandela University in Gqeberha, where private security has fired rubber bullets to disperse protesting students.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
From the first broadcast to the voices you trust today.
Radio keeps you connected. World Radio Day on 702. You're with Relebogile Mabotja
Live, streaming countrywide
on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Seven minutes after 2 o'clock, the second and final hour of 702 afternoons with me, Relebogile Mabotja. We're going into the upside of failure. I don't even want to waste any time. Mobile 1-883-0702. SMS us 31702. Tweet at Relebogile M at Radio 702 using the hashtag 702 afternoons and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
702.
The upside of failure.
Proof that a setback can lead to a step forward.
You're the best divorce lawyers in town.
It's showtime, ladies. Stand up straight.
And it breezes into that room like a storm no one...
Kabel. Go jwetse nnete la Spapane. Lefatshe mona o tlamehile o be brave gore o atlehe. Empa ke a bona gore wena o brave. Mowa wa hao a wa tshwanela ke tulo ya ditabeng tsena tsa jaile.
Ka ga ke gutla mona ke tlo gutla ka ntwintsho nyama na ona le mo kile ke ga kopana le wena e bile wa tsaba ke eng wena go hloke bophelong ba ka wena
Kabelo nalo na ritshini o ska le tella monyetlo na o feta Kabelo.
That was the sound of the phenomenal Warren Masemola in action. Right here on the upside of failure. Can I just say, Mr. Masemola, it is an honor. I've waited years for you to come. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Relebogile Mabotja.
And hello to the listeners. Do you know that voice in the show?
Relebogile Mabotja.
I couldn't wait to come just do it like that guy does it.
Please, we actually have to record you doing the voiceover saying, you're listening to 702 Afternoons with
Of course, with a pleasure for you. Anything. Hello.
Listen, I think the listeners don't understand how, as an actor, your schedule is all over the place all the time. You don't know what time you're shooting. So it is always difficult to try and get actors on the slot. But I am so, so grateful that the schedule worked out and the timing, because you've known me since I was a kid, literally. And if the listeners don't know, Warren Otswa Soshanguve. Relebogile Otswa Soshanguve. And at one point, when my dad had a bottle store business, I'm going to let you tell the story.
In the year 2001, over the school holidays, I would walk down to Transfer. It's like 100 meters from my house, 70 meters from Relebugile's house, to a liquor store called Mabotja Liquor Store. And on school holidays, I would work there in my matric year. So over Easter holidays, June holidays, September holidays, and December holidays, because I was trying to stack up some money because I had been accepted to go study at a dance college in Newtown called Moving Into Dance. And that was my only dream, to leave Soshanguve and chase my dreams.
And it is such a weird small world, because whenever I was at the bottle store, I mean, we just knew you as Shona.
Yeah.
Which, if anybody's calling you Shona, you know they know you from way back. When and why did you choose to take ownership of Warren Masemola?
So because I respect very much the name Mondlwana, which is my other name in my ID, other than Warren. When I graduated from drama school, they said you have to choose a stage name. So I didn't want to be the Cheskop guy from Block L or Mr. Lupicia, the actor. No, so and then I was like, Warren should be the stage name. So we just went with Warren. And also because I thought I would book better, because like if you're trying to book an actor or a voiceover artist or anybody, if they have to say Relebogile, then people will go Relebogile, Kilebogile, Raleboga. It's a whole lot of things. Refilwe. So how about a Warren? You know, even the employers think, it's that guy Warren. Just call Warren. Call Warren up now.
Warren sounds like the name that when you're in negotiations for a fee, they're already going to say yes to the increase.
No.
Budget.
No. Until I show up and they're like, Isan, we thought, but he's black. Oh, okay, yeah, you've got the deal.
So I have to say, it is so beautiful watching you grow, because I was just 2-3 years your junior, and of course you know the whole family. But I'm curious, Jorge, in that time, no service, I go bottle store, which by the way I was banned from when I started getting breasts, and boys would come and not buy. They would just.
And you were so eager to help out all the time.
Was I annoying?
Not really. I mean, you didn't have anything to do at the house and schools were closed. So you just wanted to hang around and see what the new business adventure was.
Yeah.
But the truth was you were maturing as a young girl, and your father was overprotective, which I highly regard him
He
for.
sent me to the bank to count dirty money. And by dirty, I mean dirty coins, not dirty in the other sense.
In the Willis bag. Because we know Willis bags are famous in Pretoria.
Because my mom would always remind me, you have to wash your hands after counting money, because people hide it in every place. So I always thought money is just dirty.
True.
Always wash your hands. But what was the biggest life lesson you learned from that experience?
Is that I had to quickly mature and grab life by like the bulls by the horns, because it was 5 years after my dad had passed away. And in the same year, my mom got retrenched. It was almost like a month later, my dad died. And so we always had my mom unemployed while I was in high school. And I had dreams. And the other dreams that I couldn't fulfill, going to a university, a technicon, because there were technicons before University of Technologies at the time, we didn't have the funds nor the fees to afford the tuition. So I had to just really discipline myself and focus and to come to Johannesburg, because a cousin of mine said, hey, it seems like you've got talent. There are avenues. Let's go try. And because by the time I was a matric, I was already accepted at the Moving Into Dance Center. So I had to be focused. And that's what I took from that if I didn't make it for myself that time, I wouldn't be where I am today. Because fast forward, in less than 3 weeks of being in Johannesburg, I was kicked out of this dance college. And it
what did you do?
I was very homophobic.
What?
I've spoken about it.
This is the first time I am hearing about this.
For real?
I mean, I would love to say, and this is my approach to interviews, I try not to overly research my guests, because I lose the level of curiosity when everything you tell me is like, oh, I knew that. I knew that. And I like to leave the room to also be like one of the listeners of just being curious. Now, why were you homophobic? And now you know the real reason, but share with us.
I was fresh out of Soshanguve. I didn't know anything about homosexuality except for Amon. Habo Amon, they used to sell fed cakes Magwe.
Yes.
So he was the only gay guy we had in the hood.
Yes.
I understood who he was because we used to buy fed cakes at his house. But for me to be exposed to a group of number of homosexuals in a space of 20 learners and being a part of the 20, and we all had to move differently, like elements, different elements of water, fire, wind, and earth, and you moving as such individually, and then the element of water would have to mix with the element of wind, and you'd have these boys, and they are openly homosexual, and you can see they're proud. But I was like, why don't look me in the eye. Don't touch me.
The reason I'm laughing is because you know what's so crazy? That is the reality of the Gussie life at that time, right? Yeah. And let's not dismiss the fact that because we're all a bit more liberal, that isn't still people's realities. True. Where it is discomforting and uncomfortable for somebody around you being fully themselves, because maybe there are parts of you, and it doesn't mean that, homophobes are questioning their sexuality, but parts of yourself that you are denying yourself enjoying freely. Whether it's the fact that you can sing and everybody said, your friend said, okay, boys play soccer. Now you hold back. Now you're seeing somebody in a dance school fully living their true self. And now they're looking you in the eye because they have the confidence to do so. And they don't mind that while we're dancing, we might touch one. It doesn't mean I want to do anything to you. But for you, it was
somewhat foreign. Because I knew of homosexuals. I knew of homophobia. But I had never been in such close proximity with a group of homosexuals. And that would mean like from morning until afternoon. So from like 8 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon. It didn't take 5 days. I had like 2 hearings called into the office.
What did you say though that it became that formal? Was it that your homophobia at the time was very loud?
It was very loud. Knowing the language back home in Soshanguve, if we go into Venek, almost every other word is a swear, curse word.
Yes, and a derogatory term. Yes.
So I had to get myself out of that shell, and I didn't know anything at the time. I got called in twice to the office, and the third time, that's when they dismissed me, and they asked me, do you want to say anything for yourself? And I was like, no. And then I left. And then that reminded me where I was when I used to work at Mabotja store. That the dream was to be in Johannesburg.
Yeah.
Do something for myself, build a career out of it. And if arts was the way to go, then really be about it. And when I went back to Soshanguve for just like 2 weeks, it was too much. I came back to Johannesburg, au-paired or baby, asked my sister, my cousin, to babysit her 2 daughters. And that's how I survived what I would have called a gap year. I didn't have the privilege. I had just been kicked out, but now I was in some phase of a gap year. And then I got another audition to go to the Market Theatre, and that's where I cleaned up myself.
Talk to me about the moment that it dawned on you what was going on, because you get many people who find themselves going to juvie, then jail, but they never learn the lesson. So they keep having, even though they have dreams, even though they whatever the case is happening in their world. What was the moment for you where the light switch went on?
It was remembering that for 4 to 5 years of my high schooling, we didn't have electricity at my house. You wouldn't tell. You'd be in bed by the time lights have to go on.
I love how you say that. Let me just tell you, all I know is whenever lights were out, Tato, my older brother, went out of his way to scare us. The moment lights went out, you must know you won't know where he is.
Yeah.
And because, we had dogs outside, and then the moonlight would be shining and the plants would be moving.
Yeah.
You'd know he's coming somewhere. So for me, I will remember every time I was awake and there was no power. That is so wild. So you thought about the 4 or 5 years of no electricity.
When I was in high school. We used to do laundry and everything smelled like paraffin because you cooked using paraffin. And even if you tried to iron your clothes, it was still from a Primus stove. The iron would be put on a Primus stove. So all of that experience, not being able to date girls when I wished in high school because of the condition that we were in. It was like, it's either you choosing poverty or you choosing survival. And survival was the only struggle to pick was survival, and survival mode kicked in. And poverty is real. I mean, you left the hood so many X years ago. It has never gotten better, other than we got a tar road on our street.
If anything, I think in some ways it might have gotten worse.
Everywhere, every ghetto in South Africa. But talking about Soshanguve, I looked at it. My friends were school dropouts, high school dropouts. My one friend failed matric and decided to go back to matric and be in the class with the former grade 11s in his high school. So I got that motivation from friends like that. And I saw from other people that I grew up calling friends in the hood how their lives panned out because of lack of a dream, lack of passion, lack of vision. And I was like, I've got it. And I don't want to be here. I don't want to end up a taxi driver like my big brother. I don't want to end up like my younger brother who doesn't know his father from the age of 11 months and then blame life on not having parents that worked and could provide. And we didn't come from that background. So all I knew was to fend for myself most of my high school. And that's the spirit that carried me through to not go back to Soshanguve after I was not so well mannered at the dance school. And may I just give a testimony. Then I found God. When I found God on stage at the Market Theatre Laboratory.
Yeah.
It was the most beautiful 2 years of my life.
I have to ask, did you ever go back to the dance school?
Yes.
And what did you say to them?
I bought Saturday tickets. What do I say? I bought tickets for Saturday classes.
Yes.
So the more you got, like 10 instead of 1, you'd get discount.
Yes.
I got like 50 tickets.
Yes.
Because the dream was still there. I enjoyed learning dance, outside street dance, because how I got into the dance college was because I could do kwasa, twalata, street dance, manyisa.
Yes.
But when I got into that environment, I learned about Afrofusion, contemporary, and jazz, and Sobo Gregory Makoma, and Sobo Vincent Manzui, and Sobo African footprint. The dream of traveling the world, going to America and performing dance. I never knew one could have a career out of dance. And look at the dancers today, even like people like Soweto's finest.
Yes.
So, yeah, I went back to moving into dance and I took classes.
And did you ever face that principal that had to, what did they say or what did you say to them?
The most beautiful motivation they gave me when they kicked me out, they said like, we used to have a student here. You remind us of him. You probably might know him. He goes by Zola 7.
What?
He was just like you, but he made a career out of him and his situation and himself, right? And so when I then went to Market Theatre and weekends, I'd go for classes. Then I would meet Tatanelo David April, Bo Sylvia Glasa, and the other educators that used to work with us. And they'd be like, but yeah, Warren. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but I know I was, and then we cleared it. They just saw that shame. He didn't know much about much, but he learned through his journey. And now look at what he's become. This.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I want to take a moment. Firstly, respect Zola 7. Love him and his work and what he's done for the culture. Like forever, ever. We'll give that man his flowers. But I want to take a step back to what you were sharing about, within a month apart, getting retrenched, father passing away. What did that teach you when you were that 17-year-old kid? Because I can only imagine the pressures being a young boy. You're a boy, let's be straight. But
12 actually, not 17, 12.
12. Yeah. So you're a man, a young boy that society is expecting to man up in that moment. Okoso Shanguve, your mom being retrenched and losing your father while you're a preteen. That sounds like, I can't imagine how many layers of trauma. How did you cope with that, and how do you look back at how you coped now being an adult?
I'm very thankful for my parents. They believed in education. The eldest of my siblings, Gugu, was like an academic in high school and varsity. And you know, as siblings, you'd have like, sort of call it a best friend amongst your siblings. So Gugu has always been my best friend, and she's the only sister we have, and she's the eldest. So my mom gets retrenched in December, the bonus start December. After the bonus start December, my dad's health deteriorates. Hospital. Certain age, we can't go visit the theater or the hospital. So myself, I stayed behind. I think my sister and my brother Masome went through to HF Vervoerd. And we got told.
And which is now Steve Biko
Hospital.
Yes, which is a very good academic hospital. Yeah.
So when they came back from the hospital, you can imagine it's almost like 9, 10 at night. I can't remember. But like I imagine it was like that time, 10 o'clock. And then they tell us, this is what happened. You've lost your dad. Don't cry. Don't cry. Hold it. No, I'm not, listeners, I'm not talking to Relebogile. I'm saying then when they told, when I was told, then they were like, your dad has passed. Don't cry. Strength. Fear.
Sorry, I'm getting now teary that as a 12-year-old, you were told that.
Don't cry. We don't want them to look at us and as if we're coming across weak. And I'm a 12-year-old. I'm like, who are you talking about, these people? Don't cry. Gather all the strength you need just until the burial. Don't cry. Don't show loss, And I'm like, and we went through that.
And as a creative, and I have to mention, there are certain parts of ourselves that are so connected to spirituality, to our emotions. As a creative, being told not to cry is almost like...
It's a trigger to say...
It's telling a fish to breathe in air. That's what it is, because that's our source of our gifts. So did you hide the tears, or you really didn't cry?
I didn't cry in front of them because then there was commotion. It was almost like we were preparing for a wedding is what it looked like to me. Because then furniture was moved, beds were moved, couches were moved, best plates in the house were moved. People were coming in, neighbors, like a lot of people were just coming in and out. And I even forgot that I have school in my life. And that week went by so fast. Then there was wood at the back of the house. Some wood had nails in it. Then I was at the back of the house playing, but not by the fire. It was during the day. And then I stepped on this wood that had a nail. And then I started bleeding. And then I started screaming, don't scream, we have a funeral. Even. Kind of these black people. Excuse me.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm crying at the situation.
So like you bleed like Muchiye, take him to the house.
Yeah,
and then manyanis. I don't know what's manyanis. So that pepper powder thing that you mix with water and then they put it on the wound and then they say plaster around it. And I couldn't wear shoes to my father's funeral. I was in sandals. Then we used to call them Di Jerusalem.
Oh my God.
Sorry, this burial is a movie straight up.
You know, you literally should be doing a film about that moment in your life, because everything you're sharing is so powerful. But I need to pause for us to go to the news. I promise we will pick it up. Go to Jerusalem. Oh my God. Whew, it's 2:30. Time for your latest Eyewitness News headlines. Good afternoon.
Thanks, Relebogile. Good afternoon. Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi has welcomed the deployment of the army to assist with the fight against illegal mining. Lesufi says the deployment will strengthen law enforcement capacity and enhance operations against syndicates. The decision to send in the military to help police was announced by President Cyril Ramaphosa during his State of the Nation address last night. Hundreds of scholar transport operators have marched to the offices of Gauteng Transport MEC Kidiboni Diale Tlhabela. The operators want to air their grievances over what they describe as newly imposed operating requirements. The drivers say the department has introduced stricter regulations for private scholar transport operators. And Lukhanyo Kalata says the families of those killed during apartheid continue to feel let down by the justice system. Kalata, the son of late anti-apartheid activist Fort Kalata, is testifying at the Hampepe Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria today. The inquiry was established by the president to probe delays in the prosecution of TRC-related cases. Well, those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 3 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, if you're leaving Bedford View heading towards Alex, slow-moving traffic on the N3 northbound. That's in the Edenvale area between Linksfield Road and Modderfontein Road due to an earlier accident. Also slow-moving traffic in the Midrand area. This is on the N1 northbound heading towards Centurion between Allendale Road and Olifantsfontein Road. There's also faulty traffic lights slowing down traffic in Polshof and Witkoppen and Main. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
There's so much work that needs to be done in terms of upgrading the infrastructure, not just patching it here and there. But we so often look for quick fix solutions. I'm really so amused by the idea of the two ministers who were dispatched to Gauteng. They missed Sona yesterday because they've got to go and deal with the water crisis in Johannesburg. I'm wondering, what did they do last night? Do you really think they were dealing with the water crisis during Sona, or were they watching it from their hotels?
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Fusing art, fashion and music, the Mahindra Fusion Fest 2026, powered by 702, is more than just a fest, it's a cultural revolution. And you can be part of the movement by playing the daily Mahindra Fusion Fest quiz on 702 for up to 10,000 Rand cash and 2 tickets to the fest. So all you have to do, WhatsApp the keyword Mahindra to 072-702-1702 with your name and ID number. So that's Mahindra to 072-702-1702 with your name and ID number every day next week. So not now, next week, every day from 1 p.m. on my show, 702 Afternoons with me, Relebogile Mabotja. Could be calling you back to play. Don't worry, I will remind you. Now you'll choose either art, fashion or music. And then you get 30 seconds to answer 5 questions based on your chosen category. Each question answered correctly earns you 2,000 Rand. So that is thanks to the Mahindra Fusion Fest 2026, powered by 702, happening the 7th of March at Sunbet Arena. Tickets are now at Ticketmaster, TCs, and more on primemediaplus.com.
You may not know this, but that genius, Albert Einstein, he never wore socks. Which proves that even the smartest people aren't always smart. But you can shop like an absolute genius at DecoFern Furniture with unbeatable deals on office chairs, desks, and much more. Plus up to 50% off end-of-range items. Work smarter, study smarter, and definitely shop smarter at DecoFern Furniture right now. In-store or at decofernsa.co.za.
Every day I'm hustling. It's our reality as business owners. And it's good to know that there's someone out there who takes care of the business that makes the business. Gotta love My Way Business Insurance. Saving big on premiums with 24/7 emergency services, plus My Business Assist with marketing, legal, and labor advice services.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to
Is
6.
this part of a reflection, Ferrell, of a much deeper national instinct? And maybe it's a national political instinct, which maybe took root in the complacency of the large majority, that you make institutions out of your indecision and indecisiveness.
It's how our country was made, Constitutional Assembly, the talks, the UDF,
Right.
etc. But if you just Google war room, you'll see that it's become an overused utility that in the end has no real function because you never know what they're doing.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman is proudly brought to you by Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
Coming up
On 702 Drive with John Perlman.
702 Drive with John Perlman is coming up from 3 to 6 p.m. Happy Friday, John. What's coming up on your show today?
Good afternoon, Relebogile. Happy Friday to all of our listeners. So, coming up on the show, obviously we need to look back at least on one aspect of the State of the Nation address last night. I'm particularly interested in the announcement by the president, which seems to have got a lot of applause. They're going to bring the army in to assist on the Cape Flats on the one hand, dealing with gang violence, in Gauteng on the other, and they would, I assume, have to extend that to Northwest as well, dealing with Zamas. But it's not straightforward. I mean, what does the army actually do? And so we're going to talk to someone who's got some expertise in that. A couple of people, in fact. It sounds like a great idea. Oh, we've got a problem, bring in the army. But actually, I suspect making it work is going to be challenging and complicated. For a lot of parents, when their kids go to high school, they go, oh, I don't want my kid to play rugby. But there's someone who's done a very interesting study down in the Western Cape about safety for younger kids playing the sport. Obviously, there's an explosion of interest in rugby across communities with the success of the Springboks. We'll find out what his proposals are. That's coming up at 10 to 4. Terrible video that many people have seen of an e-hailing driver getting murdered in his vehicle. We're going to try and find out more about that. Important court case coming up at the end of February to deal with people whose properties have been repossessed by banks. There's a class action in that regard. More details on that after 4. Randall's One Song at 10 to 5. And then in our weekly feature, a song, a book and a dish. Dion Chang has written a book about pets. Dion Chang has written about all sorts of things over a very interesting life. His latest publication is about pets, and he'll be with us at 20 to 6.
I'm so looking forward to that one. I didn't tell you, John, I have a pet.
Okay.
A puppy.
Okay.
And all I can say, I think it's been a week and a half with this puppy.
Did it come with a guarantee that it won't get the size of a small sheep?
No, it didn't come with the guarantee. But also, I keep trying to calculate how old are you in dog years if, like, now, let's say you're 2 months old. Are you a 14-month-old? Because I need to understand if you are behaving like my toddler or you're still a baby. It's a lot. And then they don't warn you that as someone who walks around the house barefooted about the landmines.
I would have thought that would have been common knowledge if you'd gone to court.
The layman would know. Except for when you're waking up in the middle of the night and you kind of forget.
The best kind of dog in that regard is a cat.
702 Drive with John Perlman coming up from 3 to 6 p.m. Warren is absolutely finished at the landmines. Come in.
702.
The upside of failure.
Proof that a setback can lead to a step forward.
21 minutes. Sorry. Why are you finished?
I have a pet. I can't just disclose what it is. But like, the landmine.
Do you have a snake? Okay, isn't a snake?
I can't. Even if it were, I wouldn't tell you.
Okay, it's the upside of failure with award-winning South African actor Warren Masemola. The landmines, bruh. And the problem was because she's still a baby and there's a big dog outside. You know, we managing. Oh, it's a lot. Conversation for another day. Okay. You were telling us the story that now you're at your dad's funeral. You're not allowed to cry. You're not allowed to scream. You're wearing the Jerusalem sandals. At that time, did you realize that what was happening around you and the situation was absurd? Or did you kind of just like, it is what it is? Did you only realize it was absurd when you were older?
I only realized it was absurd when I was older.
Yeah.
Because at the time, I was from grade 6 in 94, studying grade 7 in 95. So it was that whole transition, apartheid, post-apartheid. I didn't take it in for what it was because my lifelong friend was there and we're tight buddies, and it was just like, oh, this whole commotion happening. I'm glad my friend is here. And his dad allowed him to be here because he probably understands, sure, I lost the dad, so thanks to his dad. And that's all. That's really what it was at the time. And before my dad died in 94, he got me into a school because my friend and I have always tried to follow each other to be in the same school, to end up in the same desk.
Yes.
So Gogi was in Capital Park Primary, and I said to my dad, Capital Park Primary. My dad and I drove to Capital Park, and we went to Flower Street, where the school is. And we went to a different school. It was not Capital Park Primary. It was Laerskool Generaal Jaak Pienaar.
Whoa! Laerskool
Generaal
Jaak Pienaar.
Yeah, in Pretoria they call it Jiggy's Pienaar.
Okay.
So Gogi was there, in February when we were laying my dad, and it was at the same time when Gogi and I realized that I was not going to Capital Park Primary. So we laughed a lot about it in that year, which was the first year of my dad's passing. That I was at an Afrikaner school and he was at an English school. And so when we finish our grade 7, standard 5, we'll probably meet together at Boys High.
Yes.
So, yeah, the year just went on like that. Thanks to Koki for being there in my life.
Yeah.
We met since we were 5 until he OD'd on cocaine, and we didn't know that he was on drugs in 2009.
I look at, some of your phenomenal accolades, right? And in many ways, there's a part of me that feels like there is something intensely spiritual about your gift. And I am learning how many spiritually gifted people experience some of the worst tragedies. So, you are a 4-time SAFTA winner, which is not a small feat.
That's not true. It's 5.
5? Oh, yes, it is 5.
The 5th one was won under COVID, so maybe that's why a lot of people are still counting it as 4.
Yes, because you're not... Okay, let me rephrase.
Thank
4-time SAFTA winner in person.
Yes.
The 1-time virtual winner.
Yes,
and
Kara.
You've got this amazing project. But before we talk about Kabelo, is what I'm saying resonating in any way where I feel like gifted people are in many ways tortured souls that have to learn to overcome so much that I see in your work you pour everything, even if it was for a Beyonce music video. You laid it all. Like you could have died that day and there's not a single thing you would look back on and do differently. That's how I feel when I look at your artistry. It feels like it comes from the rawest place. So you even saying you had your gogi, you lost your dad, your friend OD'd, like that is rough stuff.
So I did my grade 1 and 2 in Putanang Primary School in Soshanguve Block K. And with a group of neighbors and friends that we were at the school, we used to walk together. But after school, we used to stop by and, and play because we were kids. And you'd find this ant hills. And what a common thing we had amongst each other was that do not kick or destroy the ant hill because God is going to destroy your house because you destroy a home of the ants. But it was at that stage when I realized that there must be reincarnation. Yet I didn't know the word for it was reincarnation. But looking back, I've always believed in reincarnation. I believe I've been here before. I believe I'm coming back. And I believe that I am just a vessel. There is spirit that moves within me. And I do what my ancestors and the spirit sends me out there to do. Not a tumamina ya Ramaphosa. Ramaphosa.
I didn't expect that.
Tumamina Dlozilam. Send me God. Spirit.
Oh my God. So I have to ask a question. If you believe in reincarnation, what do you think you are, because you are a vessel in this life, meaning you are here to serve? What do you think that is karma for in your previous life?
I don't know that much. I don't know that much. But I've experienced a lot of loss in my life. It's heartbreaking. If I start talking about it, I'm going to cry nonstop. But when I get happy, I experience extreme happiness. When I experience hurt or loss, I go deep. Like when I lost my mom in 2021, and then 24 hours later, I had to be on set. And I was doing a sitcom, and I was grieving, and I had 6 more weeks to shoot.
Being comedic relief while you are going through grief.
In less than a day. So I just think I'm extreme in where my spirit allows me to go, and because I do not filter that or try to direct it or control it, I think just like a bird, I just fly. That's all the bird knows, hunting and flying. I'm here.
Okay, we need to take a break. Please, your questions 072 702 and 702, or give us a call 011 883 0702.
Kick off to glory with Hollywood Bets and Asi Shege. Be in the game. Go full speed ahead with the epic competition. You stand to win a share of 4 million rand in cash and prizes, including an all-new Toyota Corolla Cross. Bet 10 rand or more on any soccer fixture or fixtures online or at your nearest branch. Live life in the fast lane. Bet now for your chance to score. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp HELP to 076 675 0710.
Today's forecast is calm conditions inside your Mazda CX-5. It'll be warm, so likely your cabin chills before you even ask. Patches of scattered traffic, but with heads-up display and lane keep assist, you'll feel like you're alone on the road. Clouds this evening, perfect for that Bose sound system. And later, skin tingles as you take that curve a little too beautifully. The feeling will find you in the Mazda CX-5. Wonder awaits.
Media is changing fast. The question is, are you leading it or chasing it? The Pulse Media Leadership Conference is a one-day gathering of bold thinkers shaping what's next for media marketing and leadership. It all happens on the 26th of February from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. at the Galleria Conference venue in Sandton. Expect insights from Springbok coach Rassie Erasmus, CEO of Montgrey Capital, Michael Jordan, and global marketing icon Seth Godin, joining us live from New York via Zoom. Tickets are on sale now at ticketpro.co.za. Prime Media Broadcasting is a proud sub-sponsor of the Pulse Media Leadership Conference 2026.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
At the mining Indaba, more conversations about beneficiation and a suggestion, in fact, we should be looking to our own markets for the final product rather than beneficiating something to sell elsewhere.
The notion of beneficiation must be built on sound economics. We're not living in the Soviet Union. Arguably employing a China model that is not understood and certainly often misapplied, whereby the state must control and own. I think that's entirely incorrect.
Dr. Martin Davis.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by ABSA CIB, returning as proud investment theme sponsor of the African Mining Indaba 2026. ABSA is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
702.
The upside of failure.
Proof that a setback can lead to a step forward.
The upside of failure. We're chatting to multi-award-winning actor Warren Masemola, who is now got some new work out. But if you don't know where you know him from, Jovicho, the River, there are so many, via The Widow, Inamba Namba, just to name a few. And if I'm to say this man is a chameleon, he can transform from comedy to drama to horror. And if you have seen the visual videos of the Lion King album that was produced by Beyonce and team. Please remind me the name of the project.
Black is King.
Black is King. That
Where I
is the
played
one.
Scar.
And yes, and he played Scar. 011-883-0702, the WhatsApp line 072-702-1702. But I also have to mention that Warren has spoken openly about having alopecia, because people question his sexuality. They question how you look. They question your sexuality and so many things. And I have to say, I love your responses. And I love how, again, you being a chameleon is also just how you are in life. You fit in so many spaces. You love so hard. You love so hard. And I know that you are just such gold to the people in your life, and you're never afraid to say what you think or believe. Before we go to the lines and questions, tell us about Kabelo.
Kabelo is a film that we shot out in Lesotho with Carl McKellen alongside Relebogile Mabotja. It's a story about a character who's a fugitive in Lesotho and teams up with a shepherd boy up in the mountains because location-wise, then South Africa wouldn't be able to track him down. But he is in need for his own personal survival within his journey, and understands when he meets this character of a shepherd, Kabelo, that their journeys are intertwined. They both have visions for a better life and a dream they need to fulfill. And it might be out of their own countries. One, Kabelo in Lesotho, and Master being from South Africa. And they meet up there in the mountains, and you know, Master promises Kabelo certain things to get him out of his situation and make life better for him. But Master is also in need for something from Kabelo so that he can continue his journey of survival by not going back to South Africa, and cannot afford to stay in Lesotho because immigration and illegal migration is a serious thing. When we shot it in Lesotho 2 years ago, last year, today, tomorrow, we are dealing with illegal immigrants and immigration and stuff like that. I think it was just pure genius for the director and the makers of the film to tell this particular story at that time, because it is just as prevalent even up to today. Migration is a serious issue. We mustn't put it under the carpet like we always do every day, because we know there are people who are on the ground, and some of those people are us, especially as actors. When you end up in Lesotho and experience a life of a fugitive in Lesotho, those people, they don't play. They respect their police officers. They call them officiri. They respect the soldiers because they are soldiers. And the soldiers and the police, they don't mix. It's like water and oil. And this is why you see that other people come to South Africa and they don't respect the law of the land. But when you go to an immediate neighbor surrounding South Africa, it be Swaziland, Lesotho, Mozambique, or Zimbabwe. I mean, I remember in Mozambique once, we didn't have transport to get to Maputo from Shai, and we tried to go to public transport, taxi terminus, and they thought, why would we travel in a 14-seater, but we only 6 of us and we got the millions for it, because the millions are Metica, right? They couldn't even allow us to sleep at the police station, Joe.
Whoa.
So,
and you know what? Yo, you're touching on so many things.
I know, but for Kabelo and Master in the movie Kabelo, we get to see those issues that we choose not to talk about when the people on the ground are addressing them on a daily basis. And we say they're better blacks and they're people, whatever, etc.
This is a film that is going to be screened on the 5th of March 2026 at Theatre on the Square in Sandton. And I encourage you to see the phenomenal work of Warren. But we've got 2 of your voice notes on 072-702-1702.
Good morning, Relebogile, and the big boss, I just want to make my voice a little bit deeper so that, you know, you can connect with Warren. One of the best local actors we ever had. Amen. You know, I've been waiting for this interview for like 2 hours right now. Wow. I just want to shout out to him and his great work and inspiring. It's very inspiring. Although I don't want to be an actor, but you know, watching him and switching from this character to another, from being gay to being a politician to being a gangster, you know, he's just super talented. And you know what? Shout out to him. And I enjoy watching him on screen. And wow, keep up the great work, man. This is Happy Totes from Sonneville. Warren Masemola.
Hi, I'm such a huge fan of Warren. I remember after number, I met him at Block L and Okohavo washing laundry. I didn't understand. So I was at his neighbor's house. I think they had a funeral, so I was accompanying a friend. And then, so, but divide like a fence. I don't know if it's still there. And then he's speaking to his neighbors, right? And I'm like, you guys speaking to Warren? They're like, yeah. I'm like, no freaking way. I jumped that fence. I went to, I'm like, are you really doing laundry? He's like, yes. And we have a video. I actually recorded it. It's on Instagram. And he doesn't mind being recorded. And I'm like, dude, you're doing laundry. He's like, yeah, but at home, I'm Warren, the number guy. And I'm like, say my name, like with your voice. And he says my name. And I went crazy. I just liked how humble he is. Such an amazing guy.
Why is that voice note making you teary-eyed?
Because that's the Ramudiba.
Yes.
Is my back opposite neighbors.
Yes.
So the father, we call him Baba.
Yes.
So lungi. So fence and that's the back of the house because we can't do laundry at the front of the house like a lot of people in Soweto do. No shots fired. Sorry, but this is what I see on the streets. But we were doing laundry at the back of the house, and then a stranger was visiting this family, and like she was in shock or out that I, Warren Masimula from number, can do laundry. And you know how we do laundry back home. Even when you have a washing machine, you will diershuch, meaning wash again.
Yes.
Because that is how the elders used to do it.
I'm sorry to cut you, but there is a call, and we're running. Okay, go ahead, Gitu from Midrand. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead, Gitu.
Hi, this is Kitu Metiki, cousin Shuna Warren. I just wanted on behalf of Rona as a family, whom I call publicly, to say we're proud of you. Every single day we celebrate Masemola Kodimo, that Maluma Komo, the Auskosi Gobaleng, that's shining down on you. And I just want to say, Rahorata, we're very, very, very proud of you. And thank you for everything that you do, and we wish you luck, more luck.
That's my sister. She's also like a great inspiration to all of us as cousins to go to school.
Listen, thank you for loving him and thank you for gifting the world this man because you gave him to us. And while he is still here, we have run out of time. I'm getting very emotional. I love you so much.
I love you.
And I'm so proud of you. And on top of that, you have no idea how much people seeing you coming from where you come from in the life you have built impacts people. Please never stop being yourself. And thank you for coming.
I love you, Mfana Baji.
Government has published the draft revised white paper on citizenship, immigration, refugee protection, and now invites the public to submit comments. This policy will shape how immigration, citizenship, and refugee protection are managed in South Africa. Now is your chance to make your voice heard. For more information about the white paper, visit www.dha.gov.za. To submit your comments, email whitepaper@